Dear students, today in this video, we will look into the topic mortgage and its subject property law. I am Lalit Kumar, Assistant Professor of Law, Bharat Institute of Law, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. So first we will look into the definition of mortgage, the meaning of mortgage, the essentials of mortgage, and then we will go with the different types of mortgage and we will look into the difference between the different types of mortgages under section 58 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. So a legal agreement by which any banks or buildings or society lends money at an interest in exchange for taking title of the debtor's property with the condition that the conveyance of title, that is the transfer of title, becomes void upon the payment of the debt. So person A is receiving certain money from person B, and for receiving that money he is giving certain property. He is giving certain properties, documents, or certain properties possession. We will look into those when we study into the types of mortgages, like what it is given in each and different types of mortgages and all. And the condition, that is the condition which is made for the transfer of title, or let's say the deposit of documents, or let's say the possession transfer, will become void upon the payment of the debt. So once the debt is paid, the mortgage deed comes to an end. Or else we can also say that a mortgage is a security interest in real property held by a lender as a security for a debt, which is usually called as loan, or which is usually for money, right? And a mortgage involves the transfer of an interest in land as security for a loan or other obligation. Section 58 clause A defines a mortgage, and this is how the definition is. A mortgage is the transfer of an interest in specific immovable property for the purpose of securing the payment of money advanced or to be advanced by way of loan, an existing or future debt, or the performance of an engagement which may give rise to a pecuniary liability. The transferor is called as a mortgagor. The transferee is called as a mortgagee. The principal money and the interest of which the payment is secure for the time being is called as the mortgage money. And the instrument, if at all you have, if at all any instrument is being signed, then that will be called as a mortgage deed. So with the definition, we can incur certain characteristics of a mortgage. So the first one is a mortgage can be effected only on immovable property. So it does not apply for movable property. As of movable properties are concerned, we have hypothecation, pledge and all, which comes under the Sales of Goods Act 1930. So the mortgage under the Transfer of Property Act 1882 covers only the immovable property. So a mortgage can be effected only on immovable property, which includes land, benefits arising out of land, and things attached to the earth, like trees, buildings, and machinery. But if a machine which is not permanently fixed to the earth and which can be shifted from one place to another will not be considered to be an immovable property. And a mortgage is the transfer of an interest in the specific immovable property, which means the owner transfers some of his right only to the mortgage. So, for example, the right to redeem the property is mortgage. So, all the rights are not being transferred when the mortgage deed is signed. On a later part, that is on the due date when the repayment is not made, all the rights gets transferred. He will get a right to foreclose, or he can get the right to make the sale absolute, depending upon the types of mortgage or depending upon the mortgage deed which has been signed upon. And the object of transfer of interest in the property must be to secure a loan or performance of a contract which results in monetary obligation or a pecuniary liability or a pecuniary obligation only. And a transfer of property for purposes other than the above will not amount to mortgage. So, for example, a property transferred to liquidate prior debt will not constitute to be a mortgage. The property to be mortgaged must be a specific one. That is, it can be identified by its size, its locations, its boundaries, etc. And the actual possession of the mortgaged property is generally with the mortgagor. This is a general rule. This does not apply for all the types of mortgage. It does apply, but for the most of the mortgages concerned. And the interest in the mortgaged properties reconveyed to the mortgagor on the repayment of the loan and the interest which is due on that particular date. And in case the mortgagor fails to repay the loan, the mortgagee gets the right to recover the debt out of the sale proceeds of the mortgaged property. So this is the definition as of a mortgage is concerned. So one is the transfer of interest. So the first thing which has to be noted is that a mortgage is a transfer of interest in a specific immovable property. So the mortgagor as an owner of the property possesses all the interest in it. And when the mortgages the property or when he mortgages the property to secure a loan, he only parts with a part of the interest in the property. So it is not that he loses all the interest in the property. He just loses a part of the interest in the property in favor of the mortgagee. So certain rights the mortgagor enjoys, certain rights it is vested with the mortgagee. And after the mortgage, the interest of the mortgagor is reduced by the interest which has been transferred to the mortgagee. And his ownership has become less for the time being by the interest which he has parted with in favor of the mortgage. And if the mortgagor transfers this property, the transferee gets it subject to the right of the mortgagee to recover from it, and which is due to him, and the principal as well as the interest, if at all any, is due on that date. He can recover all the mortgage money, and mortgage money involves both the principal as well as the interest which is due. Specific immovable property. And the second point which has to be noted is that specifically the property, the immovable property has to be specified clearly, which immovable property is being given in the mortgage deed. So when, for instance, the mortgagor stated all of my property in the mortgage deed, it was held by the court that this was not a mortgage because it shall be a specific immovable property. So the reason why the immovable property must be distinctively and specifically mentioned in the mortgage deed is that in case the mortgagor fails to repay the loan to the court and he is in a position to grant a degree for the sale of any particular property on a suit by the mortgage. And one more is to secure the payment of a loan. So another characteristics of a mortgage is that the transaction is for the purpose of securing the payment of a loan or the performance of an obligation which may give rise to pecuniary liability. And it may be for the purpose of obtaining a loan, or if a loan has already been granted to secure the repayment of such loan. There is thus a debt, and the relationship between the mortgagor and the mortgagee is that of a debtor and a creditor. So when A borrows 100 bags of let's say rice from B on a mortgage and agrees to return an equal quantity of sugar and a further quantity by way of interest, it is a mortgage transaction for the performance of an obligation. But however, a person borrows money and agrees with the creditor that till the debt is repaid, he will not alienate his property. That is, he will not transfer his property. The transaction does not amount to a mortgage. Here, the person merely says that he will not transfer his property till he has repaid the debt. So, till the repayment is not made, he will not retransfer his property. He does not transfer any interest in the property to the creditor. In a sale, as distinguished from a mortgage, all the interest, sale under section 54 of this Transfer of Property Act 1882, all the interest or rights or ownership are transferred to the purchase. That is, an absolute sale is made. And in a mortgage, as stated earlier, only part of the interest is transferred to the mortgagee and some of them remains vested in the mortgagor. So, to sum up the whole definition, in short, we can list down these 3 points. That is, the mortgagee's interest in the property mortgaged terminates upon the performance of the obligation secured by the mortgage. So once the performance is finished, the interest also is void. The mortgagee has a right of foreclosure upon the mortgagor's failure to perform. and the mortgagor has a right to redeem or regain the property on the repayment of the debt or performance of the obligation. So these are the different types of mortgages: simple mortgage, mortgage by conditional sale, usufructuary mortgage, English mortgage, mortgage by deposit of title deeds, and a mortgage. So first we will look into simple mortgage. All these also comes under the same section 58. So 58 defines mortgage as well as it talks about the different types of mortgage. So in a simple mortgage, the mortgagor does not deliver the possession of the mortgaged property. He binds himself personally to pay the mortgage money and agrees either expressly or implied that in the case of his failure to repay, the mortgagee shall have the right to cause the mortgaged property to be sold and apply the sale proceeds in payment of the mortgage money. So it is the most simplest form of mortgage. Here no possession is transferred, no ownership is transferred, no sale is done, no uh, there is no deposit of any documents or any title deeds is made. It is one of the most simplest form of mortgage money. It is just a promise which has been made that in future, so it is more of like a personal obligation, binding personally that in future on so and so date, if I do not repay, or if the repayment is not done of the mortgage money as well as the interest, then you can take my property or you can sell my property. But one of the things which has to be noted from the mortgagee perspective is he cannot do on his own. He does not has that power. He has to take the help of the judiciary. He has to take the help of the court. The intervention of the court is must. So one of the essential feature of the simple mortgage is that the mortgagee has no power to sell the property without the intervention of the court. So the mortgagee, he can do two things. One is to apply to the court for permission to sell the mortgage property, or else he can file a suit for recovery of the whole amount without selling the property. So he's just in need of the money, he can just file a suit to recover the amount. So in whichever way the mortgagor wants to give, let's say he sells some other property, or let's say he goes and gets some loan and gives you back, he can do so. Or let's say he has amount in his hand itself and now he's giving you after the court's order, he can do so. Or else you can just go for specific performance stating that the property has to be sold and you have to get the amount. So it depends on your rights. So it is your right through which you want to get the amount back. Next is mortgage by conditional sale. So under such mortgagee, the mortgager apparently sells the property of the mortgage on certain conditions. So on a certain conditions, the property is sold. So these are the following condition. One is the sale shall become void on payment of the mortgage money. So once the mortgage money is paid, the sale will become void. The mortgagee will retransfer the property on payment of the mortgage money. So once the mortgagee money is paid, the mortgagee will retransfer the property to the mortgagor himself. And the sale shall become absolute if the mortgagor fails to repay the amount on a certain date or on the due date. So if the mortgagor has failed to repay the amount, then the sale will become absolute. But if the mortgagor has paid the amount, the sale will become void. So, and the mortgagee has no right of sale, but he can sue for foreclosure. So foreclosure means the loss of rights possessed by the mortgagor to redeem the mortgaged property. The mortgagee has the right to institute a suit for a degree so that the mortgagor will be absolutely debarred from his right to redeem the property. The right to foreclosure arises when the time fixed for repayment expires and the mortgagor fails to repay the mortgage money. Without the foreclosure order, the mortgagee will not become the owner of the property. So you cannot become the owner of the property without the foreclosure order. Next is usufructuary mortgage. So in this type of mortgage, what happens is you get the possession of the mortgage property and you can enjoy the income which comes from the property. You can enjoy any income which comes from the property, that is rent, profit, interest, and all. And you cannot sell the property, you cannot go for foreclosure of the property, you cannot do anything. So when you're entering into such type of mortgage, and if you are a mortgagee, what you have to keep it in your mind is whether you will be able to repay, whether you will be able to get back your loan amount and the interest or not. So you have to calculate like what is the rent which I'll be receiving from the property on an yearly basis, and on how many years it will take for me to deduct the loan amount. So that is the only way through which you can deduct the loan amount. You cannot ask for sale of the property. You cannot ask for any ownership. You cannot ask for any foreclosure of sale, nothing. So under this form of mortgage, the mortgagor delivers the possession of the property or binds himself to deliver the possession of the property to the mortgagee. And the mortgagee is authorized to retain the possession until the debt is repaid. So you have to keep the possession with yourself till the debt is repaid. And the mortgagor reserves the right to recover the property when the money is repaid. But the mortgagor has a right; he can give it through other means. Also, he can, let's say, he has got some loan, or he has got some profits in his business, and or he can repay that and he can get back his property. So it is not that that is the only source of income through which the amount has to be settled down. Okay. So the essential feature of this form of mortgage is that the mortgagee is entitled to receive the rents and profits and interest, anything which is related to the mortgaged property, till the loan is repaid, and appropriate the same in lieu of interest or in repayment of the loan or both. So here he can deduct. So let's say if there is very few profits which comes from the property, so he will be deducting only the interest and not the principal amount if the amount is a very mere sum. Okay. And the mortgagor is not personally liable to repay the mortgage money. So the mortgagee cannot sue the mortgagor for repayment. He can neither sue foreclosure nor sue for sale of the mortgaged property. The only remedy for the mortgagee is to remain in possession of the property and pay himself out of the rents or profits of the mortgaged property. Since there is no time limit, he has to wait for a very long time to recover. That's what I said. That is something which the mortgagee has to keep it in his mind, that how long it will take for him to deduct the mortgage money if there is no payment made by the mortgage. Next is English mortgage. So English mortgage has the following characteristics. One is the mortgagor transfers the property absolutely to the mortgagee. The mortgagee therefore is entitled to take immediate possession of the property. That is one. The transfer is subject to the condition that the transfer shall be transferred. The property shall be transferred on the repayment of the loan. The mortgagor also binds himself to pay the mortgage money on a certain date. And in case of non-repayment, the mortgagee has the right to sell the mortgaged property without seeking permissions of the court in circumstances mentioned under Section 69 of the Transfer of Property Act. So the mortgagor binds himself to repay the borrowed money on a certain date. So there is a personal bind which you are giving, personal obligation which is being taken on. And the mortgagor transfers the property absolutely to the mortgagee. So he transfers the property absolutely to the mortgagee. But such transfer is subject to the condition that the mortgagee will retransfer the property on repayment before the agreed date. So it's more or less equivalent to conditional sale. Okay. Next is mortgage by deposit of title deeds. So in such mortgage, the mortgagor delivers the title document of the property to the mortgagee with an intention to create a security thereof. Okay, so where a debtor, he delivers to a creditor or his agent a document of title to immovable property with an intention to create a security. The transaction is called as mortgage by deposit of title deeds, and it is restricted to the towns of Kolkata, Mumbai, and also Chennai, or any other towns being specified by the concerned state government by publishing in their official gazette. And this type of mortgage requires no registration, so it is not compulsory. But if you are doing it, then it has a strong hold. If any cases has been filed in the court, then you will have a strong hold to substantiate your side if it is registered. And this form of mortgage is also known as an equitable mortgage. So there are two types of mortgage on the basis of transfer of title is concerned. There are two types. One is legal mortgage, and the other is equitable mortgage. So it is based only on the transfer of title, not a general understanding of mortgage. Those are these which we are studying, simple and all. These are the different types of mortgage. But on the basis of transfer of title, we can classify the mortgage into two: legal mortgage and equitable mortgage. So the only difference is the registration part. So in a legal mortgage, the legal title to the property is transferred in favor of a mortgagee by a deed. So the deed has to be registered when the principal money is more than rupees 100. So same as we have said for sale, where if the consideration amount is more than rupees 100, then it has to be registered. So in the same way, if it is more than rupees 100, it has to be registered. So on the repayment of the loan, the legal title is retransferred to the mortgagor. And this method of creating charge is expensive because it involves the registration charges, the stamp duties, and all. So this is called as legal mortgage. The other type is equitable mortgage. So equitable mortgage is effected by mere delivery of documents of title of property to the mortgagee, and the mortgager through memorandum of deposit undertakes to grant a legal mortgage if he fails to pay the mortgage money, and the registration is not required. Okay, so if it is required, then we have to call it as the legal mortgage, and if not, then we will be calling it as an equitable mortgage. And the last type of mortgage is anomalous mortgage. So anomalous mortgage, we can call it as a combination of different types of mortgages. So a mortgage which does not fall strictly into any one of the above mortgage is an anomalous mortgage. So let's say you're making you're entering into a mortgage deed, and you have what you have done is you have sold the property, you have done a conditional sale, and also you are doing the usufructuary mortgage thing also. That is, you can get the income from the property also. So it is a combination of two or more mortgages, then it will be called as an anomalous mortgage. So that is any mortgage which does not fall under any one of the above five terms of mortgage, five types of mortgage. Such a mortgage is effected according to the terms and conditions of the mortgagor and the mortgage. So depending upon the mortgage deed, those things will be applied, and usually it arises by a combination of two or more of the above said mortgages. And it may take various forms depending upon, let's say, the customary practice, the usage, or contract, right? So mostly this also comes into effect. So it is not that the anomalous mortgage is not in practice, because as we have seen, it is up to the parties. Sometimes, as we have seen, that registration is not also not compulsory in equitable mortgage. So it depends on the parties. It depends on the mortgager, the mortgagee. Let's say the mortgager, mortgagees are close friends, or are brothers and sisters, or are brothers. Then they can go with the terms and conditions which suits them. Their trust and everything comes into play. So with this, there are different types of different rights of the mortgagor. That is the rights of redemption. So which we have seen this word, that the mortgagor has a right to redeem the mortgage property. So once the amount is paid, once the mortgage money is paid, the mortgagor gets the right to redeem the property back. So depending upon the types in which he has entered upon, if it is a conditional sale, the sale will become void, the property comes back to him. If it is deposit of title deeds, the title deed document comes back to him. If it is usufructuary mortgage, where the possession lies with the mortgagee, the possession comes back to him. Anything that is to redeem back, to get back all the rights which has been given, or any rights which has been given in the mortgage deed, will come back to you. So let's say if he pays the mortgage money on the due date at the proper place and time as fixed, or the right of redemption has not been terminated by an act of parties or by a decree of a court, then he gets the right to redemption. And the mortgagor has the right to has redeemed the mortgage, is entitled to the following rights: to get back the mortgage deed and all other documents relating to the mortgage property, because the property belongs to him. He can get back all the documents and the deeds which relates to the mortgage property, and to obtain possession of the mortgaged property apart from the mortgage, as in the case of English mortgage, and to have the mortgage property and retransfer at his cost to him or to such third person as he may direct. And he can also gets a right to transfer to the third parties. He gets the rights to accession to the mortgaged property. He gets a right to inspect and produce production of documents also. So these are certain rights of the mortgager, and there are certain rights of the mortgagee also. The major right is, as of mortgager is concerned, the major right is the right of redemption, and as of mortgagee is concerned, the major right is the right to sue for mortgage money, because you have the right to get back your amount. So you have the right to go for sue. You have the right to go and file up a case. Get the right to sue for mortgage money. So what always it can be done is the mortgager binds himself to repay the mortgage money, as in the case of a simple and English mortgage. So only in the usufructuary mortgage, apart from the usufructuary mortgage, in all the other types of mortgage, you can easily go and file up a case, because that is the only mortgage where you do not have the right to sue. Because the only right to get repaid, the repayment of the amount is only through the property itself, only by receiving the incomes, profits, rents, and interest from the property. So where the mortgage property is wholly or partly destroyed, or the security is rendered insufficient, and to the mortgager has not provided the further security, that case also it can be done. Or where the mortgage is deprived of the whole or a part of his security by the wrongful act of the mortgager, in that case also it can be done. Or where the mortgager fails to deliver the mortgage property in case the mortgage is entitled to, in that case also it can be done. And apart from this, he gets the right of sale also. So the mortgagee, in case of a simple English and equitable mortgage, will have the right to sell the property, but after filing a suit and getting a degree from a court. He does not get a right on his own to go and sell the property. He has to seek the remedy of the court. He has to go and seek the intervention of the court for the right of sale. So mortgagee has a right of sale without the intervention of the court, only under circumstances under section 69 of the Transfer of Property Act. And apart from that, he does not have any power to recover it on its own. That is without the intervention of the court. And the next right is the right of foreclosure. So the mortgagee has a right to obtain from the court a degree for foreclosure against the mortgagor. That is, the mortgagor is absolutely debarred of his right to redeem the property. The right of foreclosure is allowed if a mortgagee is by a conditional sale and an anomalous mortgage. In these two conditions, it is allowed. The right of accession to the properties, right of any changes to made to the property. So if any addition is made to the mortgaged property, the mortgagee is entitled to such additions for the purpose of the security provided. There is no contract to the contrary. So for example, let's say if A mortgages a certain plot of land to B and afterwards constructs a building on it, B is entitled to the building and the land as security for the loan. And the right of possession also, the mortgagee is entitled to the possession of the mortgaged property as per the terms of the mortgage deed, and such a right is available in usufructuary mortgage, because in usufructuary we have seen after the date. So let's say you're telling on 1st Jan you're entering into a mortgage deed, and let's say 1st Jan 2021, and you say that by 25th May 25th May 2022 I'll repay you. If not, you can get the possession of the property and you can receive the income from the property. So on 25th you have not paid, he gets the right of possession. Okay, so in short, a mortgagee is a transfer of an interest in a specific immovable property for the purpose of securing the payment of money advanced or to be advanced by way of a loan, an existing or a future debt, or the performance of an engagement which may give rise to a pecuniary liability. And the different types of mortgages are simple mortgage, mortgage by conditional sale, usufructuary mortgage, English mortgage, mortgage by deposit of title deeds, anomalous mortgage. And in all the above mentioned various types of mortgage, the possession of mortgage property is clearly mentioned, making clear who will be having its possession, and that to up to what extent, to which extent they can enjoy the possession. Because we have seen in usufructuary, you can get the profits, incomes also. But in some other, you cannot do anything. You just have the possession, a mere possession. And in simple mortgage, even that possession is not transferred. So that is very clear as of these different types of mortgages concerned. So it is clear that up to what extent, except in two types of mortgage, which are mortgage by conditional sale and the other one is anomalous mortgage. Apart from these two, in the rest of the other mortgage, it is clearly mentioned under section 58. So the section 58 deals with the topics of mortgage. It remains silent as of these two aspects are concerned, that is the possession in mortgage by conditional sale and in anomalous mortgage. So 58 is silent only in these two parts as of the possessory rights is concerned. So it is completely uncertain that who will have the possession of the mortgaged property, because anomalous mortgage is any mortgage which does not comes under the above mentioned 5 types of mortgages. So in anomalous mortgage, everything completely depends on the terms and conditions. We have seen that it depends on the terms and conditions between the mortgager and the mortgagee. So as of the possessory rights is also concerned, it also depends on their rights or on the terms and conditions between the parties only. So with this video lecture, we have finished the topic mortgage. Thank you, students.